Hey, hey, hey. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Just real quick, how you doing? So grateful. Hi, hey, 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 Miss Piggy, how are you? Just wanted to talk about this debate real quick. Hey, hey, Tanari K. Thanks for popping in. I know I didn't let nobody know. I just got off from watching the debates and was like, let me just go on and talk about this real quick. It was one of the better ones. I mean, everybody did come out swinging on Mike Bloomberg, and he got his ass handed to him. I don't even know what to say. Um, whoa, it was definitely crazy. I don't know what he was thinking. They pulled out all the stops on him, and I don't know. Hey, 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 everybody! Hey, just one and only Smart Show, Mimi. How you doing? Hey, hey, hey. Oh, you did not watch Miss Piggy? Oh man. Oh, it's definitely something to watch. Let's see where to start. Of course, this was Bloomberg's first appearance on a debate stage, so people was ready to like get at him. Um, First comment right off the gate, uh, Elizabeth Warren talked about how, uh, we have a person who calls women horse faces and degrades women and all that kind of stuff. So people was like, oh, thinking about the president. And she's like, no, he's sitting right here on the debate stage, Michael Bloomberg. And the whole place was like, oh shit. And the whole place was really like, oh shit. Yeah. They went all the way in on Bloomberg today. It was really shocking to see, and not only that, the simple fact that his campaign people sent out memos to some of the candidates telling them to step down and make way for him because he's a better candidate. I was like, wow, how do you just come into a race? I mean, granted, yeah, he's had money and he's been using his own money to do campaign ads and commercials, as I'm sure many of you see them. But how do you have your campaign ads send out memos to the candidates telling them to step aside? I thought that was a bit arrogant. Yeah, me too. I thought it was very arrogant, pretty mortician, but it was interesting to watch. Uh, let's see what else. Uh, Pete Buttigieg went after Amy Klobuchar for she didn't recall the president of Mexico's name, and he drilled that into her, uh, which I mean I thought it was important because as the leader of the free world, we cannot sit here and think that it's okay that you don't know foreign leaders or nothing about geography or anything other than the United States. I think as the president of the United States, you should be somewhat versed in that. And not only that, she is on the committee that oversees the border patrol and all of those sorts of things. So that is something that definitely she should have known. However, she did try to turn it around and like, oh, are you calling me dumb? Which I didn't like that either because it was like, don't do that. Yeah, we're in this Me Too movement, and I'm all for that. But at the same time, every time somebody says something, we should not try to make it out to be man calling a woman dumb or lowering uh, a woman's IQ. He asked a simple question, and yeah, she got a little flustered, but it is true. You're on a committee that oversees the border to Mexico and the patrol agents, and you didn't know that. So everybody has a little to her defense, so everybody has a chance to have a little mix up. But once you didn't know that, then you should have immediately came back when you came back to the screen and said, "Oh, hey, I, I know who it was. I just didn't know at that moment." He definitely called her out for that, and I thought that was good. Um, and I mean, she got back at Pete too, basically telling Pete that he does not have the experience enough. Um, But they did call out Amy for her prosecutorial when she was a prosecutor in Minnesota about the young teenager who's been in jail for 17 years for a crime that he did not commit. So they did call her out, and that was good to see that. Let's see. Hold on. Now I'm gonna get to everybody. I'm sorry. I was just rambling. Yeah, Bloomberg. He couldn't answer for a lot. They pulled out all of his cards. They pulled out some allegations of sexual harassment that he has signed or had people to sign NDAs on. And they pulled out a lot of stuff on him. So it was very like, yeah, are we trading one Donald Trump for another? Because I mean, basically, that's all it would be. It's trading one Donald Trump kind of attitude for another. Yeah, I mean, of course, it's white privilege at its best, but I mean, hey, he has the money. His money is speaking right now, and it's definitely talking to. Hey, Judge Jess, how you doing? It's definitely talking to the Democratic committee as a whole, because they rearranged the rules for campaigning for him. So I mean, that alone speaks for itself. Right. I didn't like how she wanted to play victim. So I'm like, oh, so you trying to say I'm dumb? No, he wasn't saying you're dumb. He's saying that you have a lack of knowing exactly what you should know. As if you're trying to be the president, you should know these things. We already have someone who does not know, a lot about the rest of the world. We don't need another. If that is the case, you might as well just leave him in office. So I thought that was a bit much, but Elizabeth Warren came back strong. She really did. Yeah, his money does speak loud, Snarry. You ain't lied about that. But when do we get out of that place? Like Bernie said, everybody should have the same. Everybody should have the same equal rights to obtain these things. Just like when they asked him, they asked Michael Bloomberg, does he think he should keep his money or his taxes, the money he's like, yeah, he's earned it, he's worked for it. And Bernie came back and said, well, I'm sure your employees worked for it too, and that the employees should actually be able to benefit and sit on the boards of the companies and be able to have a say, which I think is true, should have a say in where they work. I really don't get it. I was just talking to a friend of mine actually before the debates came on, and we were talking about why the communistic idea scares so many Democrats away from Bernie Sanders. Even the party as a whole tries to destroy him in every chance they get. And when all of the programs we already use, it's just that the subsidies are given to big business and people with money. The subsidies don't really come to us. We get the small part of the subsidies, but they make it seem as if, that's like giving everybody anything. The big companies, they let them have an issue with not making capital. They get it. They get it. All they do is apply and they get millions and millions of dollars. And then on the millions of dollars they get, they make a profit of it. And the amount they pay in taxes is nowhere near the amount that they even got in subsidies. So it makes no sense to me. None whatsoever. Yeah, Karen, that is true. That's true. If anybody has any thoughts or wants to share, I'm not going to be on here long, but if you do want to, I will put this in the chat. So if you feel like coming on and adding your 2 cents, because I don't want to feel like, I don't want anybody to feel like you can express yourself or your thoughts and views. So if you want to come on, you don't have to show your face. You can put your little avatar in there. But of course, if anybody in the bushes and you start acting crazy or being disrespectful, you will get chopped. Just so you know. So, but yeah. And personally, like I said, I was just talking. He's in here now. We were just talking about Trump and who can go against Trump, and it's like really too much. Anybody can go against Trump because all he's gonna do is name call. And we've gotten to a mentality where name calling and kind of bullying shows a sign of strength when it's actually the hugest sign of weakness there is. If you can't really just talk about the facts and you got to drag other things and other people into a situation, that shows that you have a lack of, first of all, just basic knowledge, that you have to reach and grab at straws to try and create an argument, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. But, hey, what do I know? Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, I don't see it for Amy Klobuchar too much longer. Elizabeth Warren, maybe. She did do a good show today. It was definitely it was cool. But yeah, Elizabeth Warren, Pete Buttigieg, I think that's dying down a little bit. I just can't. I just can't. I don't see it for Pete. I don't see it for Pete for many reasons. Of course, with his with his with his run as mayor in South Bend, race relations is not the greatest at all. His remarks towards Black people, not favorable. And the same with Bloomberg, of course. How did Bloomberg do? I haven't watched it. Oh, well, you need to watch it. Bloomberg definitely got chewed out. He was quiet for a long time after Elizabeth Warren basically said we don't need, it's disrespectful to have somebody calling women horse faces and degrading women and talking about them disrespectfully and so on and so forth. And everybody thought that that she was actually talking about the actual president. And she said, no, I'm talking about Michael Bloomberg. And the whole place was just like, oh. So that was funny. But yeah, definitely I encourage you all to watch it. It was very, it was a fiery one. It was definitely, everybody, did their little digs, pulled out some records. What I didn't like, although people say, I was, listening to the pundits talk about how it was one of Joe Biden's strongest things. I mean, all he's going on, and which, I mean, I get it, but I don't get it. I was the guy. He sounded like somebody uncle who's always like reminiscing about back in the day, like back in my day. That's all it sounded like he was saying every time he opened his mouth, was like back in my day. I just I couldn't stand it. I was just like, can you, is there something different that you might want to bring to the table other than what you've done as vice president? Because again, respectfully, I understand that your son had passed, and I understand that it may have been hard for your family to deal with that in running, but part of that would have been the best time for you to run. So I don't know. I don't really know what the thing was, unless you was trying to cut off the thing with your son Hunter, that whole business deal, so that way that wouldn't affect you running for president. So that could have actually been the issue, but who knows? Because I just think that, because running off of sympathy and things of that nature has worked for many other candidates back in the day. So I really didn't know. Can we just what? Jamie St. Who is I don't know Jamie St. Patrick. You talking about from Power? Oh yeah, please hit the likes up in the video, please, when you're coming in. It helps with the algorithm of this. I think we need to choose someone who can be able to stand up against Trump and begin to support him. All right. Yeah, that's true. Definitely. But I mean, I think everybody can kind of hold their own against Trump. What will happen though is he likes the name call. And if you can kind of elevate past that and not stay quiet while he's name calling you, it would help in your favor. But if you kind of, stay quiet, I don't think I don't think that person will have a chance. Yeah. Oh, thank you. No problem. You're welcome. It's just a little something I try to do, but no problem. No problem. Yeah. I figured it was Ghost of Power. He's dead now anyway, so I don't think he'd be able to be any help. Yeah, Clinton did that, but Clinton didn't do that at the same time. Clinton did that in her own way, but she didn't as far as really attacking and going after him as far as Benghazi was concerned, the emails and things of that nature. See, with him, you can't let stuff sit because if you let stuff sit with him, he will continuously roll it out because he knows how TV works. TV works just like this. You'll watch something, you'll watch a clip of something and think, oh, that's a good show. And then you watch the show, you're like, it's not really all that great. But then you may watch it again when there's nothing else on TV to kind of watch. So it's that whole thing of if I get the snippet out there, it's out there. And then, you have to decide whether you want to listen to it, whether you think it's true or not. And if you hear it enough, you start to believe it. Whether you know to yourself, it's not true. But if I keep playing it, keep throwing it in your face, if I keep saying, oh, she's distrustworthy or she's not she's not honest, put her in jail, all the craziness that they were talking, people actually believed it. And the first thing said, oh, I don't really trust her. How could you not trust her? But yet this man is crooked. He is literally crooked. Like he is crooked. He done pardoned 11 criminals, people that have been charged with real crimes, not nothing fictitious, real crimes. Yeah. Yeah, we do need one person to agree on, and I think it'll come. Hey, Aman, how you doing? I think it'll come, but what we definitely need to do, we definitely need to vote to make sure that the candidate that you're choosing gets as far as he or she can in these primaries. So that way your actual candidate will actually probably make it to, be considered to be one of the top candidates. Hey, how you doing? I'm well. How are you? Welcome. Hey. We need someone to spotlight for Trump. Yeah, well, I mean, that'll be hard because him being the president, anytime he goes, there'll always be some news about him. But yeah, you definitely need to kind of turn away and really look for the facts. We are in an age where everything is so instant, and that's fine because it makes things accessible quicker. But at the same time, we need to do our due diligence and make sure the stuff that we're taking in is actual fact and not made up stuff just to put it out there. So I think that's important too. Campaign for I campaigned for Clinton, unorganized. Yeah, and I don't doubt it. And mainly because she was an establishment and she felt like, oh, I don't really need to campaign. People are gonna vote for me because they almost voted for me before, and they know me, and they know us, they know the Clinton name. I'm good to go. And that's the problem. It's the problem Joe Biden had. Joe didn't come into the race. Everybody's talking about, oh, he's number one on the ticket. He came right in like, oh yeah, okay, let me wrap this up. Now all of a sudden, nobody knows what to do because it's not the same. We're not even dealing with the same type of electorate anymore. Donald Trump has changed. His election has changed everything in how you deal with politics. Now, it could probably go back, but as of right now, it's more about being out there, being on TV, saying things that'll make some people feel uncomfortable, or addressing some things that make people feel uncomfortable. Addressing the stop and frisk, addressing police brutality against people of color, or the disproportionate of wealth and other services that other communities have compared to others. But we have to have those conversations. We can no longer, the person who is actually going to be that candidate should be able to address those things and not sit around and think, oh, we'll deal with that later. Like, no, deal with it head on. I think, it's important at this point. There should be nothing you should be hiding behind, not speaking about. Everything should be definitely out in the open. Because if he's going to sit there and he just selected a representative to run for the Senate seat in Minnesota, who's like an open race, who's basically openly racist, and believes that white lives matter, whatever that means. So I mean, he's showing us all the time where his alliances and where his feelings actually lie. So when people talk about, oh, he's done, somebody who respectfully left comments in under one of my videos talking about how he's done so much for Black people, and I tried to explain to this person, I guess young man, I'll say, that you do understand that progress, even in a downturn or an upturn, doesn't happen overnight. So what he inherited was an uptick, and an uptick for a while takes some time. You're going to get a lot of residuals from an economy almost going down to an economy rising up. You're going to get a lot of uptick. You're going to get a lot of increase in jobs. You're going to get all of that. And that's fine. But to say that Trump did all that would be a falsehood. Like, the only thing he has done is cut down regulations and given the businesses the ability to actually, pollute again and do other things and, cut insurances and do all these things. So it's like, I get it. He's like, we don't all have to, as he like to put it, get off the plantation as far as voting Democrat, which, I mean, not knowing the person's race said that I kind of look, but I get what you're saying. We don't have to fall in line to hear, to follow, just because. No, it's good to do your research and know what you're voting for, who you're voting for, and why you're voting. Just don't vote because the person is of color. Just don't vote because the person is a Democrat. No, and know that when you vote, and maybe that person is not the person that you wanted, find something. Research that person and find something that you need, that is important to you, and flow with that. And if you need to, like I said, get on the phone with your congressman, get on the phone with your senator, or your state or your city people, and really talk to them about those issues and address that. They are there for you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, although a lot of times they say, oh, we don't have time, we don't have time. They will make time. They will make time because if enough of their constituents decide they don't like what you're doing, they will vote you out, and they know that. So if you push it hard enough, they will definitely. No, I didn't hear what he said. I don't really. What? I, oh, okay. Anyway, election polls would be a good show. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. You got to show up at the polls. Like the best way to at this point, the best way to show him how guilty he is, how corrupt he is to show up at the polls. And they're going to stop you. They're trying now. In Arizona, a representative now is putting out legislation to make sure that college students can't vote in Arizona, that they would have to use their home addresses where they actually live, so they can't vote in Arizona come election time. But the rules are you reside where you stay most of the time. So if you're there 6 months out of the year, that's where you reside, which how most colleges have always been. So if there was an election of any kind, you get to vote in that state where you go to school. But in Arizona, he's trying to change that. So, and I'm sure he's not the only one. Yeah. I mean, and a lot of Trump supporters don't like to hear that, but he's benefited from all of that. He's benefited from all that. Now, when you do your taxes shortly, or those of you who have already done your taxes and you see you're not getting back much or as much as you did maybe a previous year, that's because of that tax cut that you didn't get none of, but his rich friends did. I don't think it was a horrible campaign. I just think that she ran a campaign, like I said, thinking that she had it in the bag. And from jump, that she had it in the bag from jump, that it was going to be a swift transition from Obama to her, and everything was going to go smoothly. And it didn't. Um, because the Republican machine helped it. They did the Benghazi thing for hours. They knew there was nothing with Benghazi, but they put her in front of the TV for hours, berated her, told her, oh, you caused these people to die. That was on purpose. They knew that. They knew she did not commit no crimes. They knew it was nothing she could do when something like that happens, there's really too much of nothing that this Secretary of State can do. They are private security and all that in place for things of that nature, their evacuation plans and all of that. And as the head of that department, all you do is get the call like, hey, this is happening. We're moving the people from here to here, and then make sure that they get to the United States safe. Other than that, there's really much of anything unless like she said, she got a call that there may be some danger, and she has the right to make that call to pull them or to keep them there. That that would be her thing. But other than that, I really it was purposely done to make the people see her and distrust her because of that, because of those emails, and all those things. Which I mean, at the same time, you're dealing with a president right now who acid washed his emails, whose daughter has certain emails on a private server. I mean, the hypocrisy of the whole thing. Like he's doing exactly what he claimed she was. Oh, she's a criminal. Oh, she's crooked. Oh, she's this, she's that. And he does exactly the same thing. Oh, sorry about that. What did you say? Campaign meeting was correct. Okay. Uh, underestimate over. Yeah. Well, I mean, they didn't expect it. That was the one. The Clintons didn't expect Obama to really rise up. Remember, he was the underdog in the beginning. He really, nobody really saw it for him. But lo and behold, he did it. And I think they've always had a salty taste in their mouth because of that. Personally. So I think that was the debt he kind of owed her to kind of help her along, but he didn't want to do too much because he didn't want to seem like he was taking sides. So, but the DNC ain't no better because they were crooked too, trying to dismantle Bernie's campaign so that Hillary can be the nominee. So I mean, all around, it did not help Hillary's fight for the White House. I think if the DNC would have just stayed out of it, Bernie would have probably gotten the nomination, and Bernie would have probably been president. Probably. I'm voting, but it seems that shit. Well, it doesn't do a thing because on that level, it's so high up. Most of the time, people fail to realize that your local mayors, your governors, all those things, those are the people that really, really matter because they control what your state gets, what your state and what your city gets. Usually, voting for the presidency, it's important because everything trickled down from there, but your state is the people that enact what benefits your state gets comes from the governor. So the governor can say, the president can say, I'm issuing, for example, the president can say he's issuing funds to go out to all the states for healthcare, so to speak, right? So the governor of your state can be of a different party of the president and say, well, okay, you're giving me this money for this, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to not take this part of the healthcare, but I'll take this. So you're wondering if he said, oh, he's giving healthcare to everybody, and then you go try to sign up in your state and you figure, why can't I sign up? Because your governor said, no, he is only going to take half of that. He's only going to take half of whatever. And he designed his own, because governors can do that. He can design his own healthcare plan around that to where in which he can get some funds. He'll take some of the funds for the government because he'll make sure he gets the funds because he'll use some of it by enacting some of the healthcare, but he won't give all the healthcare plans to the state. So that's why it's important to make sure that when you're voting, that you're voting for your governors as well as your mayors, all your city officials, because they are the ones who enact the decisions that you that you make. Yeah, James Comey too. That was a bad decision on his hand too. That really was, and I still don't know what the deal was with that. Part of me at first felt like James Comey thought he was doing a good thing for whomever. I don't know, but yeah, it definitely did not pan out right. I'm sorry, this thing is running slow, and then all of a sudden, all these comments come running in. So excuse me. When Quentin could you? Yeah, well, I mean, they all got skeletons, so that's why I was just like. um, Yeah, the rules don't apply, and but the Republicans support him because they're getting money. I just ran a story the other day. The senator from Alaska, she just got a transportation grant, like $20 million for her state, right after she acquitted the president. So they know what they're doing. Like, then it's not a thing where in which they actually feel like he's not guilty or he's not corrupt. These people are getting money from him for their programs, big wads of money, to make sure that they go along with the status quo and let him do whatever dirt he's doing. And not only that, I do believe that the Russians is giving him money in his pocket too, because I just find this to be, I mean, absolutely ridiculous. There's no other president in history that would be able to get away with any of this. And the fact that they allow it and then get nervous when, like, Susan Collins talking about she's worried now about her seat because she's getting all these threats about them voting her out. Well, why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? You always talk. She always runs this line whenever there's a vote where it comes down to her and, five others, that she's thinking it over and she's not necessarily sure if she's going to vote along, party lines, and she turns around and votes anyway because that's exactly what she wanted to do. But she puts on this front, and it's just like, at times, enough's enough. Right, exactly. Your judges too, your judges, your sheriffs, all of those, your school administrators, all those that you can vote for, definitely make sure you vote. They are the ones that enact everything that goes on with your children's schooling, uh, with funding, government, state, and citywide. So it's definitely very important that you vote, vote, vote. And usually those times when you vote, are doing the off season, like not necessarily during the presidential races. They're usually during the off time where people don't really pay attention and, aren't really enthusiastic about voting. But that is why most of the Republicans win the tickets, because they are out voting. A lot of them are seniors and older, and they vote. They vote all the time. There's never a moment when they don't vote. Yeah, no, the DNC didn't cheat. I mean, I think they working on it now. The closer Bernie gets to getting the nomination, if in fact it is him, they're going to find their way. They have this thing about socialism, like, democratic socialists. It's this. We do the same thing, but it's all about who gets the money. That's important. That's what I think it is. It's not even about socialism being a threat. It's about who gets the money. Like I said, uh, the big businesses and companies get subsidies all the time. All the time. Companies know how to get it. Even certain small businesses that do all right for themselves know how to get these subsidies. We don't get them. So, um, why should it be that way when we pay, regular working citizens pay far more taxes than the people who can afford to pay more taxes? That's ridiculous. That's really ridiculous. There's no way in the world anybody can tell me how that makes sense. Uh, right. And holidays important. The president authorizes appointed leaders upon the education. Right. And then too, I mean, look who you have as leading the Department of HUD because his mother was on it. I mean, and as a neurosurgeon, one of the highest professions in surgery, in medical surgery, you would demean yourself to be the secretary of HUD. I can't. I don't even see it for Ben Carson. As a man, as a black man, I just don't. I don't. I really don't. I don't, because there's no way you're gonna sit here and give me a. That's like having me come to the White House to work in uh, urban affairs or whatever, and then go, oh, by the way, you know what? I'd just rather have you garden. The hell I won't. Bye. I would not demean myself to do that. I just think that is crazy. Oh, I don't know how to. Oh, I don't know how to share that with Facebook just yet. But if I probably will take the recording and put it over to my CC and Facebook channel. I'll probably do that. CC was James Comey ego. Certain groups of people in the majority issues, and there you go. And this stuff. Well, I mean, yeah, of course, there's a bit of ego, but ego got the best of him too. Thank you so much. I mean, I hope it's inspiring, and not only that, I mean, I just hope it inspires people to get a little more into politics. And I do appreciate and thank you to the people who do contact me and say that I've increased their interest into politics, so I make them at least look at things a little differently. Because that's all I'm trying to do. I mean, you know, our vote is important just as much as our dollars are important. And I think we do ourselves a disservice when we discount the power that we truly have. And when these people go around making sure that they try to steal your vote, like the governor in Georgia and others, I think it's important that you know that your vote is so important that they will take it from you. Okay? That's how important it is. They will take it from you. Yeah, politics is a very, very dirty game. It is. It is a very, very dirty game. And, you know, some people have tried to come in with good intentions, i.e., like Obama, and you discover that it is really dirty. And if they can get enough to block you, they will block you. But I mean, you still try to press forward and do what you can. But at the end of the day, there's only so much you can do when you're faced with so much adversity. You leaning towards Bernie, his age? I'm not really concerned about Bernie's age. Let's be very clear. Bernie Sanders is about the same age as Donald Trump, give or take a year or two. So I'm not. If you're concerned about Bernie's age, you could be concerned about Donald Trump's age. Donald Trump is not a young chicken. He is very much a year or two younger or older than Bernie Sanders. I think there's somewhere. I think Bernie Sanders may be a year older than him, or something like that, or maybe 2 years. But pretty much they're very close in age. So I don't even pay that no mind. And if he winds up, you know, God forbid, passing or what have you, you know, of course that'd be a bad thing. But then you'll have Mike Pence. That's even a whole nother thing. So you know, God willing, I just pray that election day comes and there's a smooth transition. However, I've also been reading an article in which there's a person who wrote a book talking about Donald Trump plans not to leave office if he is not elected to a second term. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, I can't. Ben Carson, I can't. I can't at all. Like, to me, all of his, I mean, because he was very pro black and, you know, black empowerment and all that stuff. As I was younger, we always, you know, would read about him or do some sort of project or anything like that. Now to see him, it's like, I don't even know who you are, sir. Like, there's, I don't even have any, like, no. No, it's not. Yeah, like Los Angeles, like LA has a huge homeless problem, and you know, and that's the thing. Like, there's so many other problems that we need to be concerned about. Like there are tons of homeless people, tons of homeless youth. There are children homeless and still going to school because it's the only time they can get a meal and sometimes a shower if they're in, other schools where they do like gym activities and have a shower. So, I mean, understand that these problems are vast. Uh, we get caught up in the little things because, we have our lives and we have our own things. But there are children homeless, teenagers, children. Um, that it's really, it's really a sad state. We can talk about the economy is doing so well and stock market is booming, but how many of us actually own stock? Like I told the man, I wrote that in my comment back to him. He hasn't responded yet because I said, well, you're talking about he's doing so great. The stock market is doing all right. He's had his couple dips, but that's doing okay. But do you own a stock to even say, ooh, oh, well, my investment is doing well? But if you don't own one, then what are we talking about? Oh, where was I? Sorry, guys, I just start rambling. Have their own agendas. Yeah, they do have their own agendas, but you have to. That's the thing about making sure that you go to um, when you have town hall meetings or city council meetings or anything that you can attend. Go hear what they're saying, hear what agendas that they're putting out towards your city or your town or your county. Because if you don't, they're gonna do it anyway, and when you don't like it, there's nothing you could do about it. But at least if you go at that moment, you can at least speak up and let your voice be heard. Okay, wait, I didn't vote for the district attorney for the local man. Charles was the wow. That's serious. Wow, 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 wow. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and they do stuff like that. They make, especially the employees that work for the government or the city, they threaten you with things of that nature. I mean, right now, even in the government that we have, if you're not a Trump, they're weeding out people who aren't necessarily Trump loyalists. And for career officials, it's not about that. They don't care who the president is. They're there to do the job to promote, you know, the business of the country. Now we start weeding out people who are only loyalists to a certain person. Come on, y'all. We're taking this all the way to World War II and how Hitler even started in power. I mean, that's how it started. And people just don't, they don't get it because they don't see it. But that's just how it all started. You start removing people who don't agree, and then you have a government full of yes people. Okay. Well, I mean, what's 5 years to a heart attack? What's 5 years? Anybody can have a heart attack. Again, they're not that far in age. If we was talking about 10 years, then I would be like, okay, but I really don't see 5 years as a big difference. Right, right. For a table, for his thing. It was just a table for his office that you spent 30K on, but nobody talks about it. Is he? I thought he was 76. But they're all old. Even Warren herself is like 70, I think. Okay, good, cool. I'm glad you did that. I'm glad you mailed your primary ballot in. Definitely no excuses. Like, just do it. Um, you want to, you want change. You got to be that. It starts with all of us. We got to be the change that we want to see. We can't just sit around and complain about things not happening without doing something to make it happen. Yeah, you may not be able to see it all the way through because you may not be the end result of it. But if you started and people see you doing it, somebody will take up that mantle and continue that on. I always, when I say that to myself, I always think back of a scene in Glory when Denzel Washington takes the flag bearer gets shot, and Denzel Washington then takes the flag after the captain gets shot, and he takes the flag and marches up. But it's like, keep going. If you want that change, you want to win that battle, you gotta grab that flag and you gotta do it. And then other people will see your tenacity and see you do it and be like, hey, you know what, yeah, that person's right, and it may spark them to do something. But it's all about starting that conversation, starting that process. We get too caught up in trying to figure out, well, how can I do that? My voice I'm not gonna be able to do this and do that. You don't know that. You don't know that unless you try. I'm not from the LA area. Homelessness is bad. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It is really bad. We need it's right, right. Very true. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people thought Hillary had the presidency. I mean, I myself thought she had the presidency until I started to notice some things. When Trump started talking racial about, get these people out and do this and do that, I already knew she wasn't going to win, because the underbelly of the United States is that it's racist. And so if you had somebody at the top of the ticket talking that awoke everybody who was, sitting back like, oh, I really hate these people. I wish they go somewhere. Then you had somebody who said it freely. It was like, whew. It was almost like the scene from The Wiz when they after the rain, the sprinklers came on and they start unzipping and came out. That's just what happened. Trump said, you know, get these people out of here and get these son of a bees out of here, and they just start unzipping and unveiling themselves. And yeah, here we are. Yeah, Buttigieg is 38. He is young, but he's also white and gay. And um first of all, we all know the black church, let alone black folks, ain't seeing that right now. It is what it is. Again, that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother time. A lot to deal with the mentality of a lot of people, but hey. Okay. No, I'm about to cut it off. I just wanted to come on real quick, but then I started rambling on. But yeah, definitely. That's all I wanted to say. It's been 43 minutes. I got to get up in the morning, and just as well as everybody else. Thank you so much for stopping by. I do hope you guys who hasn't checked out the James Wilson, nice to see you. I don't think I've seen you before. If you haven't, sometime at work, please check out the debate. You could probably listen to it. I think it would definitely change up some things and make you definitely look at the contenders for the White House um, differently, to say the least. Thanks for coming out. Hey, what's up, Absolute? Thank you. Good night, everybody. Thanks once again for coming out. Thanks to my mods. Thank you for holding down the fort. Appreciate you guys. Thank everybody for swinging by. The people in the bushes, hello. And that's all I got. If you have any questions, though, you can, of course, email me and to it, or leave a comment in one of the comments somewhere, and I'll be sure to get to it and read it at some point and answer you back. But everybody have a good night. Hopefully you'll all be able to get some rest. All right. Talk to you later. Peace.